Hi, I'm Carlos. I'm the battery channel manager at Amber Electric. We're going to run through some basic questions in terms of what you can ask your installer when you're looking to get a battery, expand your battery, and how do you know if a battery is right for you and right for your setup at the moment. Something I wish a few people knew a little bit more about before they bought a battery is just in terms of, I guess, the compatibility. Make sure you've got the right hardware or that you're choosing the right hardware to be installed. Make sure you've got a good size battery inverter, so a big enough battery inverter to be able to send power back to the grid as quickly as possible to maximize your opportunity in a price spike. And probably the third thing is really just around the size of the battery. Having a big enough battery so you have some excess capacity to be able to send some power back into the grid when the prices do spike. A little bit in the same way that when you were sizing or when you were thinking about a solar PV system in the past, you didn't just buy a PV system that fitted your daytime usage. You bought a little bit of extra capacity, a slightly bigger system to future-proof yourself and to have some excess capacity to take advantage of what feed-in tariffs used to be like in the daytime. And now we've got an evening feed-in tariff, which is why you want a bigger battery really to take advantage of that evening feed-in tariff. So you might think about which specific installers might work with Amber and whether that should influence your decision around which installer you're going to go with. Most people are getting 2 or 3 quotes these days for their battery installation. Essentially, I would suggest, obviously a partner of ours is going to have the most up-to-date information around what's compatible and what's not, what's going to work best and what's not. But essentially, any local installer that you use should be pretty well informed about Amber. Obviously, we've got lots of FAQs on our website that you can check out and make sure that you're as informed as well to make sure that you're making the right decision. So how can we make sure that your installer can set you up with Amber? So it's a pretty simple process. Essentially, as long as you have the compatible equipment that's on site, the installer can either share a specific code with you or you can jump onto our website, sign yourself up. Pretty much we'll do the breaking up with your old retailer. You will need, for example, maybe your serial number or your system ID, which your installer should be able to either provide you or is available in your app for your battery inverter. And that's pretty much all you're going to need. The rest of it should be pretty well autofill as you go through the process. It should take you around about 3 to 5 minutes, so pretty easy. A lot of people obviously are pretty keen to get everything up and running as quickly as possible. It does take a little bit of time for us to do the onboarding process and the enrollment process. So I guess there's 2 stages. The first one is the kind of hardware onboarding or enrolling, which can, after your 10-day cooling off period, can be somewhere between 7 and 10 business days on average. That's getting a little bit faster with some of the automations we've got in place. And then following that, you've probably got around about a 30-day, what we call like a learning period, where we get to learn what your habits are when you use power, how much battery storage you have. And if you can, you want to try and avoid doing kind of manual controls in that learning process, in that first kind of 30-day period. I would usually say to people that Amber is more of a marathon than a sprint. People expect the results to come in straight away. Sometimes they do, which is great, and you're off to a really strong start. Sometimes they can take a couple of weeks, a couple of months. We can't control what happens on the wholesale market. So I would normally say to people, if you're going to give us a try, give us at least 6 months to a year, so you've got something to compare against year on year.